what does the Bible teach about business? That's what we'll uncover together on the Business in His Image podcast. This show explores strategies from the Bible that will help you grow your business, strengthen your walk with Jesus, and help you reach your God-given potential as an entrepreneur. The Bible is filled with practical wisdom to help you live for God while using your gifts. Let's unpack what that means for you and how you can use biblical truths to build a thriving business that honors Christ. Now it's time to dive in. Now, if you ever wanted to break into copywriting, but maybe you were on the fence, maybe you weren't sure if you were going to like it, if it's for you, if maybe, you niche down, you would regret it later, or maybe you were just wondering, how do I even start? I don't have experience. I'm starting from scratch. So how can I break into copywriting? If that's you, then stick with me till the end because that's exactly what I'm going to talk to you about today. I want to share with you a little bit more about my journey. I get asked about that a lot, right? Like people want to know, what is the progression? Like, how did you start? What steps did you take and all of those things? So I am going to talk about that today, share a little bit about my story, and then I'm going to give you practical steps on what you can do to get started now. As I mentioned, it's been exactly 1 year since I've transitioned into being fully self-employed from working in-house. And I started actually as a virtual assistant, like many of you. I previously had marketing experience in social media and digital PR, but I completely left that field and I went and did something completely different. Some of you may have heard my story, but I was managing Airbnb properties and cleaning them. So I was not doing anything related to copywriting. For a number of years, I was just managing these properties. But what happened is that I became pregnant with my first child and I wanted to know, how can I work from home? I wanted something that was flexible. I wanted something that would enable me to be there for my family, be there for my kids, contribute to the household, and not require me to leave my kids in daycare so that I go and work at a typical office job. So that's when I really started my journey of learning about virtual assistants and blogging. And let me tell you, I tried all the things. I tried starting a blog and it was just taking too long. I'm like, okay, I need money now, not a year from now. Okay, I don't have time to wait for this traffic to build up. So I tried the blog thing and then I started as a VA. So I made my profile on Upwork, and that's actually where I got my first 2 VA clients. And the first one was doing general admin, like many of you started. A lot of us start that way. We don't always jump into a niche right away. Although now that I know what I know, if I knew that back then, maybe I would have just went straight into copywriting, but I didn't know copywriting existed. So I started as a general VA and I was making $17 an hour from Upwork from this client. And I didn't love the work. It was okay, but it wasn't work that really lit me up. And from there, I found another client where I was doing mainly social media marketing and writing, and I really did enjoy that. So I transitioned into being a content writer and social media manager, and I was working with several clients, almost pretty much booked out my services, and I loved doing it. However, what I found is that I was working all the time. I was working from home, which was great, but I was still working all the time because at the rates that I was making, anywhere between $20 to $35 an hour, working those positions, I had to work a lot to meet my income goal. But I'm a stay-at-home mom and I'm balancing working from home with my kids there at home. And I just found that I needed to find something else. I needed to find something where I could earn more while working less. And that's when I came across copywriting. When I tell you, copywriting was such an answered prayer. I've been a lifelong writer. I've always loved writing, but I never knew that copywriting really existed. I knew about content writing. I knew that people will pay you to write blog posts and all that sort of thing. But I didn't know there was this other career where you can write for advertisements to help sell products and services. And you get paid way more because of the demand of the skill. It's a premium skill. And it's something that merges writing with marketing. I didn't know that. So one day I was sitting on my couch and I came across this copywriting course and I started learning about copywriting and I was so excited. I was like, this is it. I want to do this. But the course was like $3,000 and I couldn't afford it. So I remember saving the course and I moved on from that. And I was like, I would love to invest in this, but I just can't. So what I started to do is look up all the free information that I could about copywriting. I also ordered copywriting books off of Amazon, I think, or whatever. And I started reading copywriting books, listening to other copywriters, their interviews, their podcasts, and joining all the free groups and just soaking in as much as I could. And so I was doing that for a while. And then finally, the copywriting course I was looking into, they came out with a payment plan. So I was able to join and invest in myself. And I just believed in myself so much. I believed in this and I knew it was right for me, that I was just willing to make the investment and dive in. So I did that. And after learning the skills that I needed, I actually landed my first client and I earned $3,000, my first copywriting project. I was working on a launch copy and I made $3,000 for my first project. And it was so exciting. Now, mind you, this is not my first project ever. This is not my first client ever. I had previous writing experience. I had experience in marketing, in management, in PR, and that sort of thing, and writing blog posts. But this was my first actual project as a trained copywriter. And it was so exciting because with one project, I was able to exceed and replace my previous income with all these other smaller projects with just one client. And that was so exciting. And that's the moment where I knew, okay, this can work. I can do this. And it's work that I loved. I really enjoyed doing it. From there, I actually ended up working in-house. So some of you may know that I used to be an in-house copywriter. And at that time, I found out that a company that I really loved and followed, the Virtual Savvy, they were hiring a copywriter. So that's when I applied and I actually got the position. And so for about a year and a half after this, I was working full-time in-house as a copywriter. And it was so amazing. Okay. I actually have some content in this Facebook group. I have some content on my social media that talks about the differences between working in-house versus as a freelancer. And there are so many benefits, especially when you are starting out. It is a great avenue to consider. So this was a fantastic opportunity. I got to learn so much. I got to practice my skills every single day and work with a team that was so talented. The Bible says iron sharpens iron. As iron sharpens iron, so one person sharpens another. And I really felt like that was the case for me working in a team setting. It was amazing. So I was doing that and eventually went out on my own. And now I have an agency with my husband called Honey Digital. So I'm a freelance copywriter. And then I'm also here helping all of you to learn about copywriting, about starting your own business, which I love doing, and just sharing from my experience all the things I've learned so that you can all make progress faster, because that helped me so much. Being able to learn from other people that have been doing this for years, that have done it successfully, it really helped me fast track my success. So for those of you who have been curious about my story, about my progression, the steps that I took, that's a little bit of the backstory of how I got started. It didn't happen overnight. And I will say that there were seasons that were hard. There were quiet seasons where I wasn't getting clients, right? I don't want to make it seem like this highlight reel of, oh, Joe was just always successful, or she always had clients, or it was always easy. Because I see some of you in this community struggling with finding clients or getting out there. And let me tell you, I was there. So it is part of the process. That doesn't mean that you should give up, because there is so much opportunity out there. You just have to keep going. You have to keep fishing for the clients and keep working on your skills. If you make a decision to work hard on your skills and follow the steps, right? Do what you need to do to network and get out there, you will succeed, because there is a need. There's such a need. If you go on LinkedIn right now, copywriters, like the amount of copywriting jobs on LinkedIn alone, that's just one platform, is ridiculous. It's out of this world. There are thousands of positions available, even just in my country here in the States alone. Okay. That's not even counting all over the world. So there's no shortage of demand for copywriters. Now, for those of you who are interested in breaking into copywriting, I do want to share like some practical things that you can do to get started now based on my experience, based on the things that have helped me to make progress. I get asked a lot of those questions as well. And I do also, before I get into that, I want to share with you a little bit about what it's like being a copywriter, because I know some of you are interested, but you're a little bit scared to take the leap, right? You're like, if I niche down, and what if I don't like it? What if it doesn't work out? But let me tell you, in my opinion, copywriting is one of the best jobs in the entire world. And I really wish that I knew about it sooner, but there's just so many benefits. If you love to write and you enjoy marketing, it's a really great field, because number one, your skill is highly valued. As your skill grows, you are only going to get paid more and more based on the results that you get, right? It's flexible. It allows you to live a freedom lifestyle, even if you're working in-house, right? Because of the pay and at times even the benefits, it's just such a great opportunity for you to provide for your family and still have work-life balance and live comfortably. So there's no shortage of opportunity. It can be very flexible. Not to say every single job will be like that, but many jobs out there are, especially these days. Okay. Even some in-house positions are fully remote if you want to take that route. And the starting salary for a skilled copywriter is a lot higher than entry-level positions in other fields because of the return on investment. As a copywriter, you are helping people to sell a product or service. You are making that business more profitable through your skill of writing copy. So people are willing to pay top dollar for that. And that's why the rates can be so high. When you hear me talk about making as a starting point, $50 an hour, right? Upwards to 100 or more per hour. These are not numbers that I'm pulling out of the air, but you can do your research on Google and you will find that these rates are very normal for a copywriter. And I do mean like someone who's skilled, someone who knows what they're doing. They've practiced, they've learned. Not to say that you need 10 years of experience, because you don't need that to be a good copywriter. However, you do need some training. You do need some practice. Now, if you want to break into copywriting, I want to share with you some practical steps that you can do to get started. Number one, work on your skills. This is the most important thing, because I see a lot of people, they focus on getting clients, which is important because you need money to sustain yourself. However, when you're starting out, the most important thing is to really get good at your craft. So you want to learn everything that you can right away, or you want to start working on your skills right away. So learn everything you can. You can watch classes online, you can take courses, or you can start with books. When I started out, I couldn't afford a course yet. So I started with copywriting books. And if you want to know some of the ones I recommend, you can go to thevirtualmama.com/tools. And I have a section on there that's just about books. Those are the books that I recommend. And I have, I think, at least 3 copywriting books on there. And those are all copywriting books that I own. These are not random books that I just pulled up online. These are books that I've read and own and that I recommend to you if you're just getting started. You're going to learn a lot. So learn all you can, work on your skills, and then practice. Once you start learning some stuff, you want to practice. You want to get practical skills, okay? You want to write a sales page or a landing page or whatever kind of copy you love. Okay, if it's email copy, start practicing. And what you can do is you can find a brand that's interesting to you and just use them as a prompt. Make up your own prompts. You can look up prompts online, or you can find a page that maybe could use a little work, and you can go ahead and just rewrite the page. So that's going to give you practice, and that's going to help you hone in on your craft, which is so important as a copywriter. So we talked about number 1, work on your skills. Number 2, practice. And then number 3, you want really strong writing samples that you can show potential clients. Now, I will say when you are starting out, the main thing you want is experience. So you don't necessarily need to focus on creating a website right away or something like that. It does help. It helps you look more professional, and you should do it. But when you're starting out, you want to focus on your craft, your skill, and your writing samples. So I recommend at a minimum 3 to 4 strong pieces of copy that you can show potential clients of your work. And it should be tied to whatever kind of copy you want to be writing. So if you want a niche as a website copywriter, then your samples should be website copy. If you want to offer multiple forms of copy, then you should have at least 1 piece of copy for each of those kinds of formats. So maybe 1 website copy, 1 email copy, 1 sales page, etc. And try, if you know the kind of industry you want to work for, try to keep it in that same scope. It doesn't have to be. The main thing is people want to know that you can write. And here's a tip to keep in mind as you are creating your samples. This is so important. A lot of times people get so caught up in, oh, these clients out there, some of them can be so cheap and they don't want to pay and this and that. But also think about from the client standpoint that they may have been burned, right? Before. There's so many people out there who call themselves a freelancer or a professional or a copywriter or whatever it is, and they don't always deliver. So it's good to be sensitive to the fact that they are a business owner making an investment, and they want to make sure that they're making the right investment. So you can make that process easier by showing value, right? In your writing samples and in the way you deal with that client to make them feel secure that they are making the right decision investing in you. And just always remember that when you have a client that signs a contract with you and they pay you that deposit, they are making an investment in your skills because they believe in you, and you want to make sure that you deliver. Okay. So work on those writing samples. It can be something simple that you put inside of a shared Google Drive folder. Okay. And then if you want to create a portfolio, you can just link to that folder inside of your portfolio. That's what I do. And it's been working up to now. Okay. Some people, they use different fancy platforms that they pay for. I don't do that. I like to keep things simple because the most important thing is to show that you can write. Okay. Don't get so caught up in the graphics and the branding and this and the platform and making it pretty that you lose sight of what they really care about, how you can solve their problem, how you can help them. All right. Another tip that I want to share is to be willing to be consistent. Just know that this is a long game. I don't want anyone to ever think that all you need to do is just read a book or take a course and then that's it. You're good. You're a copywriter. Clients are going to come flocking to you. It is still a business. And with any business, it doesn't matter what field you're in, whether it's copywriting, whether you have an e-commerce business or you're a general admin VA, you have to market yourself. That is part of having a business and being an entrepreneur. So just have the mindset that this is the long game and you will succeed if you stay on the path, but you have to stick with it. There may be seasons that are going to be a little tough. There's highs and lows in business. There's seasons where you do really well, and then there's seasons that are a little slower. And that's with every industry, unless you're working as a W-2 employee. So that's a whole nother story. That's another perk of working in-house is the consistency. However, there's pros and there's cons. And then so be willing to be consistent. And then also be willing to learn from other people that have already done it. One of the things that have really helped me is learning from other people, taking courses, reading books, listening to podcasts. Learn from other copywriters that have been where you are and have made progress so that you can learn from their mistakes and also the things that they did right. And you can make progress so much faster that way. I know that's something that's helped me. And then as we wrap up here, the last thing I want to say is build your authority. This isn't something that you necessarily need to focus on upfront when you're brand new. But after you get through these different steps, you want to think about how you can build your authority as a copywriter and show your expertise. How can you share what you know for free to build know, like, and trust with people who may want to work with you? I have a lot of free content as well on that. If you're interested, I can link to some resources. But that's one of the things that I really hone in on in my agency as well, is building your authority. It helps so much to build know, like, and trust and prove to people that you know what you're talking about. There's so many ways to do that, but I'll just say look for opportunities where you can share value, even if it's for free, when you are starting out. And that is really going to help you. Now, for those of you who have listened to this and you're like, I love this and I want to dive all in, I am ready. Consider checking out my course, Copyland. You can go to thevirtualmama.com/copyland and you can join the waitlist to learn more about it. But it is a step-by-step copywriting course that gives you everything that you need to launch your copywriting business. All the things that I've learned about how to write copy, how to deal with clients, how to find clients, market yourself, all the things I put into this course to help other aspiring copywriters and freelancers. You can go over there to check it out. Even if you're not sure, just go ahead, join the wait list. So thank you so much for spending this time with me. I will see you again next time. All right. Bye. Thank you for listening to the Business in His Image podcast with me, your host, Jo Harris. If this show has blessed you, please share it with a friend and subscribe so that you can be notified when we release new episodes. My prayer is that God will help you soak up every bit of what you've heard today and help you apply it to your business so that you can see results. I'll see you next time, and may God bless you.